Introducing Minor Wisdom Quintet.
1, 2, a skidoo-doo-doo.
Minor Wisdom.
All right, guys, this week might sound a little livelier because I am a bachelor this weekend. The family went to the State Fair in Dallas on Texas OU Day, which is today, the day I'm recording this. So if I'm a little louder, it's because I'm alone in the house and I don't feel so insecure about talking into a microphone by myself while my family is somewhere in the house listening to me and making fun of me and bullying me. I'm able to do this without any restrictions. Might have gotten a little loud there, but I'm happy to be here. We just wrapped up Junior Festival South. It was a great time. There's a reason, like I've said, that I don't teach middle schoolers. I will say this, you middle school teachers that are out there that do listen to this, I think I've said this before on the podcast. This is now episode almost 40, if not 40 itself. But man, I don't know how you middle school teachers do it, because look, those kids before lunch, they were angels. They were just little baby angels. They were the sweetest. They were very respectful. I did a design workshop with them, very basic elements of design, and they were awesome. They were receptive. They listened. They were engaged. Made one middle schooler cry because I called her out for being an amazing artist, and I guess you're not supposed to do that with middle schoolers, but anyway, then lunch happened, and everything went south. Those last couple of workshops that I led after lunch, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about those kids that obviously the sugar is a clear indication of why those children grew devil horns, but they just became just horrendous. And if I have middle school teacher fans out there, listeners out there, then chime in, reach out to me on Twitter or something, and tell me how you deal with it. Like, what do you do? I know in the old days, like when my mom taught 6th grade math, she had a flask. She did, but she can't do that anymore. So that was the 80s, the 70s and 80s. So that was a different time. Now you can't do that. So how do you middle school theater teachers, or middle school teachers in general, I don't know who listens to this, but how do you middle school teachers deal with that stuff? The kids that just literally, they have a mind of their own. It's insane. It's incredible. This week on the podcast, I do have Julio Morales. I've been trying to get Julio on for a long, long time since I've started this. I actually just came from his school. It's a beautiful school, beautiful 1.5-year-old school, Sharpstown High School here in Houston, Texas. I interviewed him at TTA, which is where most of the content's going to be the next couple of weeks. From the Techland booth. Thank you to Eric at Techland. There is an interview coming up with him as well in a couple of weeks. But Julio is an amazing, amazing person. He doesn't give himself credit. Most of us don't, but he doesn't give himself enough credit. He needs to be given the credit for what he has done with those kids at Sharpstown. It is just an amazing sight to see. He's so good with his community, with his kids, everything, because he comes from there. Make sure you're getting a Minor Wisdom shirt. We got new shirts out. New shirts. New colors. It's crazy. I got people mad at me because they would have bought that before. Well, buy it again, okay? Other shirts coming out. I'm going to keep dropping shirts. Kind of like Matt Ludlam inspired, I inspired Matt Ludlam to do a podcast. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. He inspired me to do shirts. Follow me on Twitter, Minor Wisdom Pod. Send me an email, whatever. Follow me on all that social media, like the podcast, do all that good stuff. We got Thespian Convention coming up in a month. I'm super excited. Here is this week's Groaner Joke. This week's Groaner Joke was supplied to me by Anthony Nieves Sawyer, a Minor Wisdom alum. Ladies and gentlemen, why does the Norway Navy have barcodes on the side of their ships? So when they come back to port, they can Scandinavian.
Hey everyone, my name is Julio Morales. I am the theater director at the theater teacher at Sharpstown High School in Houston, Texas. I'm super excited to be on this episode.
Sarcasm.
No, I really am. Excited.
So, where you? What's your background? Like, where'd you go to college? All that kind of stuff.
All right, cool. So I went to college at the University of St. Thomas here in Houston, Texas. I graduated back in 2009 with my theater degree. I started doing theater in high school, actually. That's the first time I did anything. And I went to Sharpstown. That's my high school. Shout out to Roger Rossi. You're awesome. Thank you for introducing me to theater. And so I went to St. Thomas. I did my undergrad there. And that's where I met the amazing Gino. Gino was my professor in college for most of that time. He's a brilliant man. Please make sure you let him know he's awesome.
And grew a mustache back relatively quickly. But anyway, continue. Yeah.
Then I started teaching at Sharpstown, and as I was teaching, I realized that as a team of one, because I was by myself, I needed to get some tech experience, so I got my master's from Southern Oregon University, my master's in theater production and design. Shout out to everyone who went there. Woo woo. That's it.
I don't have a huge following in Southern Oregon, or the East
Oh,
or West Coast, or I should say West Coast.
I'll
but
make
yeah.
sure you have some
Okay.
now. Shout out to my greens. What's up, y'all? Make sure you
Is that what they are?
like and follow the podcast.
What are the South?
Yeah.
Is the South Oregon Greens?
No, because in the program,
yeah.
you're the green cohort or the
Oh.
blue or the red cohort.
Got you.
It was a 3-year program, so.
What? So what did you like? What did you get out of that master's program? Because a lot of people, actually, the few people that I've interviewed here already, I say, what do you want to get out of TTA? I want to find a school that has a good master's program. What about that program?
The reason why I chose Southern Oregon University is they focus on theater production and design. And so I did do some tech in my undergrad.
Yeah.
But when you're the only director at your high school, you have to know how to patch lights. You have to know how to run the sound. You have to know how to sew. You have to know almost everything. And so my background was in acting. It's being at Sharpstown, I realized that in order for me to make sure my kids received a better education, I had to be educated.
Yeah.
And so Southern Oregon, that's what they focus on. We did learn about script analysis, but the focus is specifically for teachers that might not know what patch is. Like, what does that mean? What is DMX? And so the focus was on design. So it's costume design, sound, lights, set design. Great hands-on program.
Yeah.
It's 3 weeks during the summer, so it's for 3 summers. You fly up there. It was beautiful going to Ashland, Oregon.
Especially the summertime.
And we were able to watch productions at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival. That was one of the greatest experiences, seeing 5 shows for 3 summers, being able to talk to other theater adults about that and just kind of discuss, and then we had to write essays. I don't know if they still do that now. And so that was like painful. Not painful because it was really awesome actually. And just kind of bonding with other adults for 3 weeks. It literally felt like adult theater summer camp. And we would stay late nights writing essays, and class would be all day and night. And then during the year, we just do projects, like a set design project that you incorporate through the school, and then you mail that model in. And so I loved it. I loved my time there. And so I'm going to be honest, I'm not the best costumer. I'm not the best lighting person, but now I am not afraid to use a light board.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to talk about lighting. I can go to shows and be like, oh my gosh, look at those, look at that angle, oh, look at the gel.
Yeah.
Oh, look. And so I'm more confident now when it comes to my directorial skills and just production skills overall.
Yeah, sure. And so the connection that I have, or the reason I've wanted you on here forever, and by forever I mean the last 40 weeks that this podcast has been around, is so I was zoned to Sharpstown. You know all this, but the people don't. I was zoned to go to Sharpstown, ended up not going, but at that time, a Jewish fat white kid probably wouldn't have fit in too well at Sharpstown High School in the late 90s, and my parents knew that, so they shipped me off to HSPVA. But you've taken a program, or even like just the idea that people, the preconceived notion of Sharpstown High School is not a positive one. You know, it's Title I, but it's got a brand new school. It just rebuilt it, 2 years ago?
About 2 years, okay.
And you've made it this public conglomerate. I mean, like you've taken the kids out in the public, which I never saw that. Mind you, we didn't have social media obviously in the 90s,
Yeah.
but I never saw what was happening outside of the walls of Sharpstown, let alone inside the walls of Sharpstown. And you've made this, you've just blown it up. It's become a school that's to be reckoned with. And seeing your show last year, seeing the one act play show, just being able to experience what you've done, and my hats off are to you.
Thank you.
My hats off are to you. That's not good.
Sure,
My
I'll take it.
My hats off to you. But it's just you've done such an amazing job. So it's enough, tooting your horn. But what do you think? Like, do you think you would, if you were to go to another Title I school that you had no relationship with, that wasn't your alma mater? Do you think you would have been driven as much to kind of improve it as much as you have and get these kids fired up as much as you have? Or do you think, not to say your drive would be poor, but you just seem to have that extra little oomph behind making sure your kids are successful and out there and good humans? Do you think that would have been present?
Here's the thing. For some people, if you live in Houston or if you've heard of the school Sharpstown, there's this like notion that it's this really horrible school,
Yeah.
or it just really has a bad image, and I don't understand why. I loved going to Sharpstown when I was in high school. I even cried because I didn't get accepted into my magnet school, and so I cried the day I got the rejection letter from the other HISD school I'm not going to name. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to Sharpstown, they're going to kill me, I'm going to die. And it was the best 4 years I had in high school. The community is amazing. I loved my time, and I need people to give Sharpstown a shot because we have so many programs that we offer for our students, and it ranges from classes to even AP and on-ramps with the University of Texas. We have a great college and career center when it comes to our college counselors. We go the extra step to help our students because I know many of our Title I students might not have the prior knowledge when it comes to applying for colleges, or they might never have seen a show before. So as a theater teacher, I told myself, and I think it's because I love my high school, because that's where I went. And I told myself I was going to work there one day, and awesomely, I am working there now.
Yeah.
And I told myself, what would I have wished to have had when I was in high school? What are some of the opportunities our kids deserve to have that other schools, other students get? But for some reason, mostly because of money, a lot of Title I students don't get a chance to do certain things because they're Title I.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to erase that idea that because you're Title I, you can't do this.
Right.
And so I've had awesome support when it comes to our administration. And something that was instilled in me from the University of St. Thomas was this idea of service. And so I told my kids, we try to do service once a month. We've recently been like cleaning the drains in the streets.
Yeah.
And it's really nice seeing people in the community that see us cleaning the streets. They give us water. They tell the kids thank you so much. And just another way for the community to know that we exist.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that Sharpstown has a theater program. And so my biggest thing is just telling my kids that you are representing us wherever you go. It doesn't matter that you're from a Title I school. You are worthy. You have talent. You deserve X, Y, Z. And so it's hard. If you don't have funding, it's a huge limit. What at first we think we can't do stuff because there's this budget, but then you can make. We've seen some stuff here at TTA or online, cardboard, or changing simple stuff around you to make it work. If it looks good on stage, that's all that matters. It doesn't have to be real. And just giving kids exposure, that's just my biggest drive. I love taking field trips with my kids.
Yeah. I think through your community outreach stuff, though, you will that's going to turn into funding. Like if it hasn't already, because those businesses that are around there, and there are lots of businesses around there. It's not just a fire station over there, but which is by far the most active fire station apparently in the city of Houston. But it's those businesses are going to see that, there's this department here that cares for us and it cares for the community, and they're going to in turn start donating. I mean,
And
if you just reach
thankfully,
out.
recently we've had some awesome support when it comes to our community. The Civic Association has been doing an awesome job, and so at the end of the day, it's just this is for my kids.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's not about me; it's about them, and I wish them the best, and I want them to be successful and amazing.
So enough of that. Enough of the inspiring stuff.
No.
That's not what this podcast is about. We don't inspire. So did you have Charles Crone?
Yes, actually, I had him for an English class.
Did he just tell stories the whole time?
Yes, but
His daughter's a very close friend of mine.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah, so I mean, Julia and I are best friends, but I always hear stories about Charles Crone, and a friend that we went to school with at HSBVA went to St. Edward or St. Thomas, and took Charles for English, not for theater.
Yeah.
But all he ever talked about was Shakespeare or theater-related themed things, and it's just funny. I mean, he's a walking encyclopedia of that stuff. But anyway, that's funny. What made you decide on St. Thomas?
Well, I became Catholic when I was a senior in high school, and I was like, you know what? If I'm going to pay for school, let's go to a school that matches my faith. And so I didn't even audition for the theater program. I just signed up and I went to orientation. I had the grades for it. I had to take the SAT a couple times. Like, yes, I got the grades. And then I show up and I fell in love with the theater program. It's a small program. We were able to do everything there. And that's where I met Gino, and Gino just really changed the way that we saw each other as artists. And he's the one that kind of taught me to break that wall of there is no limits when it comes to putting a production. And so I fell in love with the people I met at St. Thomas. Still very close friends with my theater buddies, and I loved it.
Sure.
Yeah.
What's something that you still want to make sure you do at Sharpstown?
We've recently started this idea. Well, we started musical theater over there.
Okay.
Which is a big challenge because it's funding, and it's also I realized a few years ago that I can't do it all by myself.
Sure.
Which is, I don't know about you, but as a theater teacher, you want to do everything by yourself, and it doesn't turn out very well sometimes. And so,
or at least bring in people that have the same ideology that are going to stay with your.
It was an awesome experience for my kids last year to attend Tommy Tunes because we were our first year doing that, and I think that made them realize that although we're not perfect when it comes to our performances, we do belong in this theater world.
Yeah.
And so that's my idea. It's continue to grow the idea of let's become better artists and better ensemble. And I love the idea that I have the support right now to continue doing a musical we do a musical now. We're doing one in January. And so, which is not something we used to do because of funding, because of where we were with our kids and myself. I just want our program to continue to grow and most of the kids that come to Sharpstown though, some of the local middle schools in our area don't have a theater program. Mm-hmm. And so my challenge is how do we start freshman year with students who have never heard of theater, have never seen a show before. How do I get them involved?
Are you able to get out to your schools, to the feeders?
I'm going to be honest, it's been very difficult.
Yeah,
I don't know if...
I mean, because in your schedule, you have to find time in your own schedule.
I'm a one-man show, and we rehearse a lot. Every day.
Can you get quote-unquote field trip to have the kids?
Yes, that's one thing that we're doing this December. We're visiting 2 middle schools in our area. Both of them don't have a theater program.
Sure.
We started doing our children's theater show where we invite our local elementary schools. We've done it maybe 3 times in the last 5 years. Last year we had about 1,000 elementary school kids come see our children's theater show, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
This year we had a freshman say, hey, I came a few years ago and I saw Alice in Wonderland, and that made me want to do theater in Sharpstown. So it's these seeds I need to be planting. And so I'm super excited. My kids love performing for the elementary school kids. So if there's anyone out there doubting or thinking about performing with the elementary schools, please do it because the elementary school kids love it.
So
and then my kids in their costumes, Ariel came down, signed autographs, and we had bubbles coming towards the audience, and it was the coolest experience. Our set was literally the UIO platforms, and we taped butcher paper. We cut green, so it just made it look underwatery with the blue cyc, and was like, we're going to run with it.
Yeah.
And the kids have the imagination. The elementary school kids will buy your show, and they'll love it. And so this is probably a horrible idea to have when it comes to a theater because it's not sustainable. But I don't care about making money at a show. The importance is to get the audience. It's need an audience so that kids can fall in love with theater. Kids can realize what theater's all about. And so we don't charge a lot for our shows. When it comes to our children's shows, we didn't charge anything because then we also have admin who is supporting us when it comes to funding the shows that we're doing. And it's very budget, very on the low end.
It's not a way to sustain professional theater.
It's not.
But for
educational, I think our goal should be to get as many people immersed into the theater world.
Yeah, like we at Dulles, we don't, and sometimes this drives me nuts. We don't put a limit to how many ushers we can have because ushers can see the show for free. And I know I've got lots of kids out there that, even though it's $5, don't really have the means to pay for that. We're not Title I, but we definitely have the full gamut of kids that are homeless to, kids that have 3 homes or some crazy thing like that. So I like just this past couple weeks ago when we had our show, we had a show with 8 ushers, and they were just standing there, smile. I make them smile, dress nice, and greet people, but then they get to go sit and watch the show for free because otherwise they probably wouldn't have come. They probably wouldn't have attended. But that's one of those things those are those small things though that they don't cost me anything. They don't cost the kids anything. It doesn't hurt anyone. If anything, it helps.
It's the exposure.
Yeah. So I can't push those elementary shows too much, man. We don't do it as much or really ever at Dulles, but I would love to. It's just the way that our district works with getting kids funneled from one space to another, just a lot of red tape. So, but when I was at Morton Ranch and we did Wizard of Oz and we had elementary school kids come, and they're gonna love it. You literally, Dorothy could fall down on her butt, and they're still going to be like, oh my God, that's all. And then she's going to go out there 45 minutes later, and they're just going to bombard her.
Yes.
And not only are they having fun, but now that Dorothy is like, this attention is really cool. And so
it's literally changed. We did Little Mermaid in May last year, so a few months ago, and it was part of the advanced acting class's final exam.
Yeah.
And for a lot of kids in my advanced acting, like theater 2, 3, 4. They were either forced in that class or they don't really stay after school. And so I forced them to be in this show as their final exam. Yeah. And that literally changed the way they see the program now. They say, they signed up for this year. They're like, we're excited for the shows. Let's do some more acting. Let's perform at lunch. And that, I literally saw like a light bulb go off after the first performance we had with the elementary school kids. Because our actors fed off of that energy the elementary school kids gave us. And it just changed the way that, it's not just about competition. It shouldn't be about competition, right?
Yeah.
Which a lot of us, we love to compete, and that's kind of the goal. But that shouldn't be it. It's about building this program and having kids fall in love with theater, even though if they don't want to be a performer, that's totally cool. But just seeing how awesome theater is. Yeah. And we had people backstage who didn't want to act, but they were running with microphones or making sure the changes were happening. We had people doing sound and people doing props and people just doing fog machine and bubbles and side lights and changing the gels. And so it was the coolest experience. I had about 55 kids on that stage with backstage crew. I think that moment changed our program because when families came to see the show, they were like, whoa, we didn't know. And we have kids that can sing. We literally need to pull them. Hey, I know you're in choir. Come to this show. Do you want to be Ariel? Perfect.
They just don't know.
And having that support, finding those people, say, hey, can you help us with vocals a few times after school? Hey, do you like costumes? Hey, do you like choreography? Hey, kid.
Well, you know how to get a hold of me, so I'm always down. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But I want to wrap up since we're both volunteers and on the clock, I guess. But but give me throw into the microphone some sort of Julioism or Moralesism. No, I don't like that one. Sounds like a disease. But some sort of Julioism. Maybe some advice that you wish you had received, even when you were in high school, or maybe even in elementary or middle, that would have catapulted you. But some advice that you wish you had received, even if it's in college or 5 days ago, you wish you had known this. But whatever that is, and
something that I learned from Gino in college was. The importance of an actor to just trust the director and kind of, I'd say it's following your director, and it's really, and be okay with being vulnerable. Because once you're vulnerable on stage, it changes the way you perform and you see theater. And it took me a really long time to realize that. And I'm blessed to be where I am now. It's not where I originally planned to be, but where I am now, it's just awesome. And so keep being awesome, and love everyone around you.
Team on three. 1, 2, 3, team. All right. So thank you to Julio. Oh man, I mean, like, I've got a little bit of a man crush on Julio. I know he's listening right now, and it's embarrassing for him, but and in a professional setting, I've got a little bit of a man crush because it's just, again, I can't gloat about the guy enough. And like I said at the beginning of the podcast, I got to try to help him at Sharpstown this week with some lighting issues that he was having, or today actually, and just watching him with the kids. I mean, like, I was zoned to Sharpstown High School when I was a child. I did not attend, as everybody knows, and I'm proud to say it. I went to HSPVA, but Sharpstown was notoriously just a rough school back then. I don't think it's nearly as rough now. It's still Title I, but the area has kind of grown a little bit to be more accepting of the school, accepting of the fine arts. The guy's opening Laramie Project this week. If you're not down with that, well, we got 2 words for you, but I'm going to move on talking about Julio, but he is an amazing guy. Please check him out. If you see him at TTA, if you see him at Thespians, if you see him anywhere, TTC, whatever, check him out, pick his brain. He'll chat, he'll talk, he'll eventually open up. He will. So I interviewed quite a few vendors at TTA. I was the exhibits chair, or the co-chair with Alicia Green, and wanted to get a couple of these people. They're not paying me. I just wanted to push some of their products, people that were just very nice to me, very kind to me. So I thought, hey, why not put them on the podcast? This week from Growing Studios is Danny. That's kind of a travel company / Broadway workshop providers for companies like EF. Anyway, Danny and I hit it off. We became kind of friends. We're Facebook a fish, baby. Here's Danny.
So I'm Danny. We have a company called The Growing Studio. It is now the largest musical theater school in the world. We are in London and New York and Amsterdam. We have about 4,500 students in New York alone, which is crazy and wonderful. We bring in every creative you can imagine, from every Broadway director to every Broadway composer, choreographer, music director, casting director, agents. They all come to the Growing Studio to teach, which is pretty cool. Through that, we've started a lot of different affiliate companies, always trying to help actors and expose more and more people to Broadway and the theater industry.
Yeah. And say, if you can, if you want to, say what you said about the fact that you kind of are the supplier for these workshops for some of these larger companies.
So we've been doing workshops for larger companies for a long time.
All the companies you've heard of.
Yes.
You're the ones that are supplying the workshops.
Most of the time, yes. There's a couple of us in the field, but it's a lot smaller than there is for actual tour groups. So we do workshops with a lot of Broadway actors, especially for the tour groups. So if you have a school group that is coming to New York City and they want to learn from the dance captain of Mean Girls or learn a song from Hamilton, we'll bring in cast members to teach them, or work with this person from the Disney Channel or Nickelodeon or whatever it may be. So we've been providing those workshops for other companies for a long time. And then we decided to cut out the middleman, and that's why TGS Tours came about, or how it came about.
Cool. How long have you been with them?
I started the company. I started Growing Studio. Yeah, I was in Sister Act the musical.
You are Mr. TSG.
I am the Growing Studio. Yeah.
TGS. Easy for you to say.
Yeah, I was doing Sister Act, and my producer was Whoopi Goldberg, and my director was Jerry Zaks. Yeah, she's great, but very unknown.
Yeah.
So I was swinging and dance captaining the show, and I was 23, and I wanted to play principal roles. I was, had already done 2 shows as a swing, and I was out of college and was already done with it.
Right.
And so I asked Jerry, who was my director, what to do and how to go about it. And he sent me to Steve, who was my associate, the director for Sister Act. And we decided to come up with different curriculums and classes where I could learn for free.
That's neat.
Yeah, it was really cool. I did, all the classes in New York City. It's the capital of theater and Broadway and all of these things. And there weren't classes that I could take. It was unbelievable. So I started asking
their
different.
class structure is just do it.
Yeah, and or there's some, but they're all either so expensive, or there's like 50 kids in a class, and I say kids, but they're adults, and it wasn't people I wanted to learn from. A lot of these huge directors and huge choreographers, these people with really established names, cannot give up a semester to go teach at a college. So if they're looking to teach and they want that experience to work with professionals, they come to us because they have 2 weeks here before they go off to do this show, which is really cool.
That's neat.
Yeah, so that's why I started it. Yeah, I got to take class for free.
So how long has it been around now?
We've been around for 6 years.
So I can figure out your age now.
Damn it.
That's a trick.
Shouldn't have given it away. I am 45.
Yeah.
Oh.
A young 45.
But for all of you listening, I don't look a day over 22.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't have any gray in your beard?
No, not yet.
That's why I grow a beard. So I
Yeah. Yeah.
need to look wisdom.
Yes. It's all about the wisdom.
So,
Yep.
yeah, I'm also 22.
Yeah, same.
20, or as my sister says, who's 40, she's on her 19th anniversary of her 21st birthday.
Correct.
Yeah.
I just say I'm 29 plus taxes.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
But I
Wow, you like to tip.
I'm a good tip.
Damn. Come to my restaurant.
So what is, like, where do you see this going? Like, what's,
Oh man, I get that question far too often.
so you should know the answer.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah.
I didn't see this going anywhere. I did this to take a class for free, and it has turned into this won't curse monster that is just
Effing monster.
this effing monster that is crazy. I think we will probably go into production, is my best guess. We're working with all these brilliant creatives. We're really in that world. I have a really strong interest in production. I'm up for a TV show right now that would focus on the school in a different way, which could be really cool. I'm not sure.
Are you still professional?
I am, yeah. I don't do stage as much as I'd like to anymore. I did a Lin-Manuel Miranda workshop 2 years ago that was amazing, and I loved the entire thing. But after that, I just decided that I did what I wanted to do, and I wanted to focus on the company. And to be honest, going away and doing a show somewhere is difficult. So for me, it's either local to New York.
Still doing this.
Yeah, it's not like I can get on a tour or do a bunch of these things in my personal life. I'm married, I'm having a kid. It's just too hard.
Right. Good for you.
Yeah, but television I think is exciting and something I definitely like to dive into even more.
Cool.
Yeah,
Do you know Larry Smigleski?
I don't.
Just throwing it out there. Do you know Larry Smigleski?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you know? Go ahead.
Go.
Sherry Walker.
That's me.
He gave it away. I wanted to see.
never heard of her.
Yeah, I wanted to see you sweat a little bit.
No, Larry is, he just got off of Kiss Me Kate
Okay.
on Broadway. He's production
Yeah.
manager.
So Scott Ellis, who's the
Scott
director,
Ellis, yeah.
is coming in to teach next month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And Scott.
They'll teach at Growing Studio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Scott and Larry are tight.
Okay.
Larry was just here doing chorus line at our big
At
Broadway.
Tuts.
Yeah, Tuts.
Yeah, I've got like 15 kids in
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah?
he was production manager for that.
Okay, cool.
So
See a PSM?
he yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Well, right now he's in London or Greece. He's
Cool.
in Greece doing vacation.
I was there for 3 years. It
And
was a lot.
he is the next thing he's doing. I forget what the next thing he's doing, but he's going to come back. Tuts wants him back.
Yeah.
He's already done some Tuts.
Dan is the artistic director
Yeah.
at Tuts, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, they're
He used to
tight.
teach at Growing
So
Studio
you probably
as well.
have
and he's
a lot of mutual.
the community's so small.
and I love it.
Yeah, if you haven't worked with them, you will soon.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah,
I
it's a
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Thank
Is
you
there
so
anything
much.
else you want to tell us?
No,
how
I
did-
just-
How did we get a hold of you?
Ooh, that's a great question. Professionally,
Oh, everything. Yeah.
you can find me on the corner of. Professionally, my email is Danny, DANNY, at tgsny.com or Danny at thegrowingstudio.com. Instagram is BOBANNY11. It's like Danny, Bobanny. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, showing my 45 right there. No, it wasn't. Can you believe it? I got so lucky. Yeah. fortunate. Thanks. It's a pleasure.
Minor wisdom.